So the more you get on, the more fertilized, the more you can grow.
Yes, that's my reframe of it. What we want to do is turn the into compost, so that the seed can grow and be something beautiful, right?
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for tuning into Second Act TV. I want to welcome Dr. Gary Salyer back for one more segment talking love and relationships after 50. Gary, thank you for joining me again.
Thank you. Thank you, Silke.
Gary, of course, is the author of Safe to Love Again. And Gary, we had a great conversation just now when we finished our segments that I thought, let's come back and talk about this because your whole book is about, finding love again, or if especially for those who have lost hope for love. Endorsed, by the way, by Dr. John Gray, very well deserved. I mentioned to you, I don't know, we talked about a few things, but here's what you said is that 50 and over is really the best time for love. And the more we talked about it, it's like, yeah, this is worthy of a conversation. What do you say to people who have given up hope?
Yeah, well, let's look at love over a lifespan, okay? The great psychologist Carl Jung once said that what sustains a human being during the spring of life will not sustain them during the fall and the summer. And then he said something related to that was, I've met no person after 35 that did not have a spiritual crisis. Now, why is that? Why is that? Because, when we are young, we're all in this hormonal fog that Mother Nature throws at us so that we will propagate the species.
Yeah.
The next, okay, let's just face it, right? But and we don't even know our program, but as we get older, we actually have more wisdom. And we actually know more about what love is and isn't. Even if you've been hurt, you have learned a lot about what love isn't. And I believe that, what's happening in the summer and the fall is that we've grown more and more, we've learned more, and we know more about love than we ever did in our 20s and 30s. I wished I could go back and talk to that guy. Did he love his first wife? Sure he did. Did he know how to love her? Not as much. Any day of the week, I would have I could be on my best off day, and I would be better at doing a marriage well than he would have been. Okay, so this is the best time. You've got wisdom. You've got your soul is at a place where it wants to bear the fruit of all of the life experiences, and we can connect in ways that are more heartfelt, that have more depth of experience behind it. It's and less ego driven and more about really connecting. This is really the best of time. I think, if you think about it, we don't usually harvest in the spring. We get the bumper crops in fall.
Yeah.
So, and I think the spring and the summer of our life is meant to be the time when love can truly grow and we can harvest in all of the life lessons. We're wiser. We're stronger.
Here's a couple questions that come to mind. One is, then why do we throw it away so much? Because, like divorce after 50 is the highest divorce rate there is. And then we bring so much heartache to the table that we're discouraged, we're just beaten down.
Okay. I do believe that we sign up for lessons in life, and sometimes it takes a divorce. It did me. It took me 2 divorces to finally say, yep, that guy in the mirror, yes, okay. So, but a lot of marriages fail because they keep thinking, if I keep trying the old stuff over and over, it's going to work. I know the 31st,000th time I've tried this maneuver, she's finally going to get it, or he's going to get it, and it doesn't. And that's the lesson you have to learn. A lot of times we didn't learn, what we talked about last segment about behavioral flexibility. We kept running our old program from childhood over and over. I can't ask for my needs, or I've got to be able to be the one in power to feel loved, right? And of course, those things, those sort of distancing maneuvers don't feel like love until finally a divorce cracks open the egg.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can, and then there's that new life that wants to come out of that death of an old relationship. And for many, many people, it's that looking back and learning. Sometimes it takes a second divorce, like it did for me. But out of that, we come to the ability that we can truly love. We know who someone might be that loves us. All that we've had time to reflect. We're not. It's a time when we don't have to run on autopilot like we did in our 20s, when all that early childhood program is just running and we don't even know we're running it. Now we can say, yeah, I was running that and I choose this. What power there is in your 40s and 50s and 60s when you realize, I can be the tailor and not the garment.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. And it's really, you said at the beginning of the segment that we have more wisdom. And
Mhm.
yes, theoretically we should, the S word, or we do. And we do. We have had all sorts of lessons. So would you say that really what helps or impedes us is our ability to learn from our lessons?
Oh no, it is. It is learning from our lessons. And past pain is a funny thing. It can make us jaded. It can stop us. We can try to blame others. But I believe as souls, we sign up for certain lessons.
Hmm.
And if we learn those lessons, beautiful things happen from it. Beautiful things happen. And you'd be surprised how many times clients come to me and they ask, what's the soul lesson out of this divorce, or the fact that I keep choosing the same sort of person over and over again, right? Still remember doing some higher self work with a client. I mentioned it in my book. And she was always attracting guys that cheated. And she was in her late 40s too. And she was in a relationship where this guy had cheated on her 6 times. But every time he'd come back and he would say the magic words. And the magic words were, I was a jerk. The moment he said, I was a jerk, and it wasn't about forgiving a jerk. When she realized she was worthy of truly being loved,
Hmm.
she goes, hey, I'm worth more than this. Bingo, Yahtzee, bye bye. And now she's not looking for someone she has to forgive. She's looking for someone that makes her feel worthy. Relationships go up, lesson learned. So it is a time of learning our lessons, and realizing we've all changed. I mean, Harvard did a study pointing out that people change every 10, 12 years their identity of who they think they are. And that's one reason why we get to be more fuller versions of who we came to be.
Yeah.
And that's a depth of love that's possible that, quite frankly, usually is not so possible in the 20s or 30s, because the fruit of who we are in our soul just needs time to mature. There's really is more potential for depth of connection.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you. So, really, what you're saying, I think, is that our capacity to love is just incredibly enhanced after 50, if for no other reason than that it somehow innately it becomes instinctually more important.
It does. And even if you're in the most jaded, afraid of love place, it is all that jaded, all those negative lessons are there to provide positive lessons. They can be turned into fodder, like compost, right? You put compost on the ground, and it can actually help seeds of new love grow. You'll know what not to do or what not to accept, right? But it may take the feeling of empowered to turn it from BS to compost, or it may take the feeling of worthy, right, to do that. But if you can really recover those feelings, I am worthy of the love that has evaded me, or I am empowered. I was given the ability to create new things. If we feel worthy and empowered in our 40s and 50s and 60s, there's no limit to what we can do. And then we have the backlog of all that experience. where we actually will know how to love better and deeper. I have, regardless of what I do professionally,
Hmm.
when you just get down to Gary and not Dr. Gary,
Uh-huh.
I'm a better man.
Hmm.
I'm a better soul. And I understand a woman's heart a whole lot more than I did in my 30s, any day of the week.
Yeah. So the more you get shit on, the more fertilized, the more you can grow.
Yes, that's my reframe of it. What we want to do is turn the shit into compost. So that the seed can grow and be something beautiful, right? I wouldn't say we need to live in a Johnny Flesher, but we do want to be able to turn it to compost.
Right.
Compost allows life to grow, right?
Obviously, I was being facetious, but there's
Yeah,
there's truth in that, and that's again learning from your mistakes to actually turn your experience into wisdom.
exactly. I mean, in my book, I say that the definition of love, this is my operational definition,
Hmm.
the one I run around with in my head, that I live. That is, love takes no bullshit, love gives no bullshit.
Yeah.
If you don't give it and you don't take it, wow, what an incredibly liberating thing. I had no idea how to do that in my 20s and 30s. I didn't even know that existed. I
Right.
thought I thought that was just a part of love because that's what I grew up with. Of course, no BS, no love, right? That's just the way love is. But while we all have our foibles, like we've talked about, this morning, with all that, uh, you know, we can learn to love each other a whole lot more. There's just a depth, and and I think men and women can truly appreciate the unique strengths that the feminine brings and the masculine brings. Um, we can create a we in way better ways than we
Yeah.
could earlier in life.
Yeah. Well, and that of course applies to both, relationships. If you are in a relationship, perhaps you're struggling long term, or if you're starting new again, it's
Yeah.
just opening the capacity for love. And
It
that, yeah.
is, and noticing, this what works for you in the summer of life is different than the spring, and what works for in the fall is different than the summer. And if you can be in rapport with that that's the arc of the soul, and there's something grand and good about that arc. You don't have to get stuck thinking, well, love didn't work out before, so it can never work out again. No, there's no ability to create your own experience there. There's no worthy there. But what if you could reclaim the feeling of empowerment and worthiness that comes with wisdom, that comes with just experience?
Right.
You know, the difference between wisdom and experience is lessons learned. If you add experience plus lessons, you get wisdom,
Yeah.
and it's easier to learn our lessons than we think. And that really, I can't express it enough. I believe that love is more possible in the summer and the fall of life than it is the spring. I'm not saying that young love isn't great. And sometimes you can see some truly beautiful soulmates that find together earlier. But for most of us, that with normal middle class craziness, it takes us a while to learn that.
It
So
does.
I think, just remember it. Whatever that spiritual crisis is, it's meant to lead at 35 and past. It's meant to lead you to love, not to jadedness.
Yeah. Yeah. No, great conversation. I'm so glad we came back and did this, because I think it'll resonate with people. It's important, and this can absolutely be the best time in our life. We just have to have the capacity to believe that, for one, and then to accept love. Gary, anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I want to say that you're always worthy of love. I have literally, over the course of the last 13 years, I've heard, especially women, say, I'm not worthy. Or I'm too old to love. I've heard a 28-year-old say that.
Mm.
I've heard 30s, 40s, all the way up to 70s. It's never about age. It's about whether you feel worthy and you feel empowered. I have met men and women in their 60s and 70s. They've been widowed. They lost someone they loved. If they had a good relationship, they'll say, hey, I deserve to find someone because I can love and be loved. I can still remember a 79-year-old woman who had a 55-year marriage
Mm.
tell me, we were good friends. I know you speak a lot. I had a beautiful marriage. I've mourned him. We were married 55 years, but I have more life and love left in me. And she looked at me straight in the eye at 79 and says, so if you meet a guy in his late 60s or 70s who's got a little love and a laugh left in him, and she gets this Mae West thing going on, she goes, you send him my way. Now that is a friggin' right.
I love it. I love it.
It is not about, it is about feeling worthy. She knew she was worthy. She had love to give. End of statement.
Oh, I love it. Gary, on that note, we will see you next time on Second Act TV. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.